This is the video for Chapter 14, Section 4. Before we get started, let's go over a couple things we need to keep in mind while going through this section. The first thing is the less than essential question. How well did President Andrew Jackson promote democracy? The learning goal is also important to keep in mind, which, according to the scale that you guys looked at the beginning of the unit, on the first page of your packet, the learning goal, or a number 3, would say, I understand Andrew Jackson's approach to governing was different in how the spoils system works and its impact on civil servants. Another important thing to cover in this unit, before going into the content, is the vocabulary. Two words you will need to know in this unit are civil servant and spoils system. The civil servant is an employee of a government. So anyone who works for the government will be considered a civil servant. The spoils system is the practice of rewarding political supporters with government jobs. So that would mean anyone who helped you get elected, you then repay them by giving them a job in the government. That would be the spoils system. Andrew Jackson's approach to government was very different than what most people were expecting at the time. He thought of it as leading like an army. He listened to others, but he always did what he thought was right. One thing he did was he had a kitchen cabinet. He did not rely on the members of his cabinet for advice. Remember, his cabinet are the people that are hired, like the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of the Treasury, people whose job it is to inform him and to keep him informed and able to run the country. But instead of listening to them, he decided he would meet down in his kitchen with a group of his buddies, people he liked to get advice from, and that's why he got the term the kitchen cabinet. People that were in the higher positions at the time, the rich men who were influencing the government, viewed the kitchen cabinet with deep suspicion. In their eyes, the men around the president were not the proper sort to be running the country. They didn't want these average people giving him advice. They wanted the upper class people holding the cabinet positions like Secretary of Treasury. The people holding these positions to be giving him the advice, not the common person. But remember, with Jacksonian democracy, he believed the government should be ran by the common people. Besides being upset with Andrew Jackson for getting advice from his kitchen cabinet instead of his actual cabinet, they were upset with him for the decision to replace many Republican office holders with loyal Democrats. Remember, Andrew Jackson made the Democrat Party at the time. So the Democrats were the common people. So he was replacing these Republicans that were, at this time, lifetime civil servants. So they've had government jobs their entire life. And he's bringing in new common people to take their positions. He said he thought this idea was more democratic and kept the rotation of people coming through. So the government kept being run by the people at the time instead of being by a chosen few who decide to run it. Jackson's opponents called this practice of rewarding political supporters with government jobs the spoils system. Alright, let's wrap up section 4 with a question. What name was given to President Jackson's practice of rewarding political supporters with government jobs? Was it A, democracy, B, mudslinging, C, the spoils system, or D, the corrupt bargain? The answer is C, the spoils system. Alright, after you've gone over this unit, I want you to go back and look at your scale on the first page. Remember the learning goal for this unit. I understand Andrew Jackson's approach to governing was different in how the spoils system works and its impact on civil servants. If you understand this, mark yourself as a 3. Otherwise, read the other selections on the scale and mark yourself with the appropriate number.